Aptera recently announced their Launch Edition vehicle during a live webinar, and I had some mixed feelings at the time. Instead of just hearing my thoughts on the Aptera Launch Edition, let's hear from a fellow reservation holder and get their perspective on the vehicle and the webinar. And that reservation holder is Chad from Drive the Lightning. Hi Chad, how you doing?
Good, Cass. How are you, sir?
Good. So Aptera had their Launch Edition webinar. I was tuning in live, but I was on my way to a gig, so someone else was driving. I was trying to watch it and take notes at the same time. So I'm sure there were things that I missed that first time around because I left with a feeling of a little bit of confusion. And then I know you made a video on this, so my viewers, go check out Drive the Lightning's video after you watch this one. We might have some overlap with what you talked about in your video and this video, but let me get your quick, your just overview of how you felt about that webinar.
Well, first of all, the car is gorgeous. I mean, I couldn't be happier with the color scheme they decided for the launch edition. Even though my original intent was the black one, the noir. Seeing the two-tone that they showed us the images of, it's just such a pretty car. You know, and then there were some other good surprises like the addition of the little pocket there in the trunk, some useful storage, maybe for a level one charging cable or some emergency cable. So that was good. It's always good to see them, the founders, Steve and Chris. It's always good to hear directly from them. And of course, Jason, the design guru. So that's always a privilege. I mean, I don't think I've ever missed one of their webinars. I doubt I ever will, given the choice. So overall, some pretty exciting news. The all-wheel drive, that was interesting that made the launch edition. That surprised me, but not in a bad way.
I admit, like in this past week, I had stuff going on, so I wasn't like focusing a whole lot on that webinar, like learning about it. I was just thinking it was going to be something about Delta, like showing, I don't know, maybe like a real world thing that we talked about it in the last video with you. And then so I was surprised that they were releasing like a specific model that you can't configure, right? Just you get this one if you want it, and that's going to be the one that comes out the earliest. So I was a little surprised by that. But like you, I liked a lot of the in the computer renders, the things they showed us, that little pocket in the back. One of my things in the beginning was wondering if I could fit my drum set in the back of the Aptera, and I think I can, and just even a little bit more storage, it's going to be helpful. Just putting a cable there, or maybe some drumsticks, or I don't know, something. I like the exposed carbon in the back. I think that looks really nice. Yes, overall, the launch edition, just the look of it, where it's going, I like it a lot. Now, the thing that I had noticed when they were showing that initial computer render, they were kind of having the virtual camera go around and they had some numbers on measurements and stuff. When they showed the charging speed, it went by pretty quick. And then I noticed, oh, they didn't say anything about DC fast charging. And then when they answered questions at the end, it turns out the launch edition isn't going to have DC fast charging. As I'm editing this video, Aptera just announced that they will be making DC fast charging standard on the launch edition. So that makes this whole section that is about to happen kind of irrelevant. If you want to skip over it, go ahead. There's chapter markers, but do keep on watching one way or another. I have a question for you guys that I would really like to get your opinion on, so I will see you in a minute. I'll give my thoughts in a second. What were your thoughts on that?
Okay, well, let me go back in time just a little bit on what you said about it being just one edition, the launch edition. I don't like it when YouTubers, even like myself, pretend we know more than we know. So what I'm about to say doesn't come from my knowledge. It comes from what I know from talking to people that actually know stuff. But the idea of having just one vehicle, no choices, obviously it's an easier barrier to production. I get that 100%. And you've talked to the Sono Motors guys, Sion Motors. That's what they do. I mean, their car is one color, one size, one battery. There's no choices to make. And it just streamlines the production procedure. So I thought that was really smart. Again, not someone who's an expert, but I've talked to a couple of experts. Pretty smart to have it just one edition. This is it. You want my take on the DC fast charging, though? That's not a good take, because I'm always positive. Full disclosure, I've invested in Aptera. It means something to me if they make it a good car, an excellent car. I have never heard of a modern electric car that's not a hybrid that does not have a DC fast charger. And I get a lot of really negative comments about the Aptera not having a DC fast charger. And then some are like, it's no big deal. those people I don't think drive electric, because as you and I know, there's always going to be some time you're going to need a DC fast charger if you're going to have the freedom you hope your car gives you to go where you want when you want. So I love that they just did a launch edition, one edition. I think it's super smart. I don't understand it not having the DC fast charger. I know there's a reason for it. They're smart guys, but I really don't like it. And I really hope they change it. I just hope they change it. I don't think it's a good idea, but I'm, again, not an expert.
Yeah, no, same here. Because I was not 100% focused, I had a show that I was going to and all that. I at first thought that maybe there was no DC fast charging period, like for this edition and the later one. So that really bummed me out. But then on your video, you had mentioned that Chris McCann said that it would be an option later. I think for the launch edition, if I'm correct, it might be an option later. And then definitely from other things that I've read, it should be an option for like what I have ordered. Everyone's different. I have my podcast where I talk to different owners, and I'm the oddball that I don't have a place to charge at home. All the people that I've interviewed so far have a place to charge at home, and I think in that case, maybe depending on how you use your vehicle, maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal, especially if you don't go on road trips. If you're going around town with 400-mile range, you might be okay. But if you want to go past that, that's going to be a problem. And the Aptera, being so aerodynamic, it seems built for road trips, built for long distance. It's going to be so efficient going at high speeds. You're going to want to go 1,000 miles or more to go somewhere and just have those nice aerodynamics, I guess.
Sure.
So yeah, so it's a bit of a bummer that the launch edition is not going to have it, and I wonder if that's going to affect people's reservation. I know that a lot of the people that are really into Aptera might not mind because they're probably just very into the company, into the idea of it, and it might be totally cool. So I personally am not going to switch to the launch edition. I'm going to stick with my configuration, even if it goes delays it by a year or more. I'm okay with that. Do you plan on switching to the launch edition?
Yeah, I did switch to the launch edition. However, if what I'm hearing is correct, I'll never get a launch edition because they want those to stay in California in that area. If I'm understanding what they're saying right, they really want the initial sales to be there, I guess, so they can monitor them, make repairs. But I do want to address something you said a moment ago, quoting what I said, what Chris M said. It sounded like they're saying, like you said, and like he said, that they'll be able to retrofit the launch edition. I don't think that's true. Again, not an expert, but I've talked to some, and it's a whole different deal with the cooling structure and everything else to change to, because if all of that was in place, then why not have the DC fast charger? So you're talking about rebuilding a car essentially, and maybe I'm wrong on that, but I would caution people, if you buy the launch edition, don't expect it ever to have the DC fast charging, and hopefully I'm wrong. I guess, but with the right to repair, you're not going to catch me trying to install a DC fast charger in my car and burn my eyebrows off and electrocute myself and all that business. So that's not like, you'll be able to switch tire sizes, or you're talking about a very sophisticated electronic delivery unit, that's a big deal. I would say if they really launch it as it is, that launch edition would likely, and just a guess again, never have DC. I wouldn't count on it, because if I get a chance to buy it, I'll still buy it, by the way, just like it is. And I'll just never be happy with the DC fast charging, but it'll be my car.
Yeah. And I want to address too, I'm sure most of the people that are going to be watching this know it because they're probably already Aptera fans, but most of this is speculation, right? You've been able to drive in a prototype. I've seen prototypes in person and been able to touch them, but we don't own it. We can't own it. It doesn't exist as a vehicle that you can have in your driveway yet. So a lot of this is speculation. And sometimes I get comments like, "Oh, it can't do that." It's like, well, technically, yeah, because it doesn't exist as a production car yet. So yes, we know that, and I think it should be said so that people who are brand new to Aptera, if you're watching this, know that it is not out yet. We're talking about stuff that's on paper and stuff that we've heard about from the company. So
we're an interesting people, those of us that follow Aptera. We're a different breed of person, because for some reason we care about every detail of a car that's only exists in drawings. but we get excited about it. We get
Yeah.
worked up about it, like I'm worked up about DC fast charging.
Right,
It's
right.
not done yet. That might
Yeah.
not go that way, but it's just, I don't know what the emotional attachment is to this particular EV, but it's really got a grip on me and my wife. We are just so excited. Anytime you put a video out about Aptera, we're glued to it. Aptera Owners Club, Steven, we watch whatever he puts out, and
Yeah.
Instant Torque, Brewster, we watch all of it. We're all over this stuff. We get way too excited, probably,
Uh,
about a car that will exist in the future.
yeah. Especially those of us that have met them. I think we
Yeah.
like the passion that they have. And then it's just cool technology that I don't know, we've probably been thinking about, I don't know, as a kid, a solar powered car, that sounded cool, and
Yeah.
now all we need it to do is to fly now, and then that'll just complete the sci-fi fantasy. So you did mention that you switched to the launch edition. What was your configuration before you switched?
I had waffled back and forth with all-wheel drive and front-wheel drive, and I think the last one, Sarah and I landed on front-wheel drive because our Nissan Leaf's front-wheel drive and it handles the winter conditions really good here, in Michigan. And the Aptera is going to be, what, 8 years newer tech. So we think two-wheel drive would be more than enough for us. We had the Noir, the dark one with the orange interior, and the 400-mile battery configuration. Although if it had DC fast charging, I would take a 250-mile range in a second. But they said, well, they're going to make the 400-mile battery first, and we wanted to get closer in line. So we may revert back to this too once it's clear that we won't get the launch edition. If that day comes, then we'll say, okay, well, let's go with what we really want then, instead of just trying to get it quick.
Yeah. Yeah, we have similar configurations. So mine is the Noir black, front wheel drive. I went with all solar. I forget what they call it. Their version of autopilot.
Safety pilot. Safety pilot. It's like
yeah.
level 2 maybe. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I did that, and I'm holding on to that because on a personal note, it's for me. If it gets delayed more, that's actually good for me because at the moment I don't have the money to get this vehicle. So if it lets me have a little more time to solidify this channel and my music stuff and all that, then that's okay for me. But yeah, I could definitely see if I wanted it sooner, to switch to the launch edition. For me, the DC fast charging is very important since I do live in an apartment. I think the solar would help a lot, but I do want to go on road trips. That was a big thing for this vehicle. I want to go up the West Coast and maybe get up to Canada and check it out up there. And I would need DC fast charging for that for sure.
Yeah, you're kind of making me mad, Kaz. You're one of my favorite people on YouTube, but when you say stuff like, I'm in California, I actually got a shot at getting the launch edition, but I'm going to wait.
Sorry.
I don't think you're seeing the big picture here.
I know.
If you had the launch edition, your video viewership's going to quadruple overnight as you're going through all the details and giving your people who watch your channel rides in it and filming their reaction to driving it. I mean, the Aptera would make you or me money. If we had the Aptera early, it would make us money because our YouTube people that watch our videos, they want to see it. They want to know all about it, and you and I could deliver that.
Dang it, Chad, you have a very good point. I still don't have the money at the moment. Quick story is when I first reserved the Aptera, I had a day job with a steady paycheck. I quit that day job and I am now focusing on building up my YouTube and my music stuff to have a more consistent income. My question to you guys is, what would you think if I started something like a Kickstarter or Indiegogo to raise money to get this car? Now, to me personally, that sounds a bit ridiculous, but maybe it will help some of you out that live in a different country, that live in another part of the state that wouldn't be able to get your Aptera for another few years. You'd be able to have someone that can show you the ins and outs of the car, answer any questions regarding the car. So if it's something that you might find valuable, let me know. And if there's enough people that think it's a good idea, I'll change my reservation to the launch edition. Now, if you think it's a dumb idea, you can let me know that too. If there's enough of you that say, no, I would not contribute to that, I'll just stick to my original order and just wait another year or two to get that Aptera. So let me know, and let's get back to the video. Are you guys planning on keeping your Leaf when you get whatever Aptera you get, or are you planning on having two cars?
That's a tough one. We've been a one-car family most of our life. We've been married 32 years, I think now. We've almost always just been one-car family. We're together a lot. But there are times where I need four doors.
Mhm.
There's just times I have to put people in the car with me and Sarah. So I have to have that option. In my dream scenario, it'd be the Sonos Sion from Germany in the driveway and the Aptera in the
Mm.
driveway, and that would be it.
Yeah.
That dream might come true, but it's going to be down the road.
Yeah. It's a
So
little
for
ways
now,
away.
probably keep the Leaf and maybe even swap the Leaf out for a Chevy Bolt like you drive. I think that's a
Mhm.
great four-door option.
Yeah. It's a
Yeah.
great car. Yeah. I think the thing with not getting the limited edition for me is one is money, and two is I do need the DC fast charging just in case. Because there are times when I'm usually pretty good at planning my charging. I do try to do level two as much as possible, but there are times when something comes up and I need a quick charge, and I
Yeah.
think, yeah, I would need that. The only car I can think of right now that doesn't have DC fast charging, I think, is Electromechanica. I,
Oh yeah, the little
I,
tiny three-wheel
yeah,
car.
and I
Yeah.
don't know if they sell them in all states. I think they might only be selling them in a few states at the moment. But
Yeah,
if from the
that's
major,
probably one.
yeah, from the
I'm
major
sorry.
auto manufacturers, I don't think there's one right now that doesn't
No.
come with DC fast charging. Okay, so as we wrap this up, I was talking for me, DC fast charging is a pretty big deal. It would be possibly a deal breaker. For you, what is a deal breaker? What would it take for you to just cut your reservation on Aptera?
That is, it's hard for Sarah and I. We've actually talked about this because we've had a couple of our viewers say that's it, they canceled their reservation.
Hmm.
I got a lot of angry emails and texts from people who are investors like way up there, not like me. I'm a small potatoes guy over here,
Mhm.
and they're upset. And so anyway, so we had to have the deal breaker talk. We don't think they could make a car that we wouldn't buy. I'm not happy with the launch edition. Still be more than happy to have it. Make a bunch of money off it, sell it, and buy another one, of course, like I'm trying to tell you to do. But if they put a gasoline engine in it, then I'm out because I
Mhm.
just don't drive gas. I will not drive ICE. If they made it into wasn't the first one supposed to be a hybrid? I can't
I
really
think
remember
I
back in
think so.
2008.
It had
If
something with
it
gas, yeah.
if it's a hybrid, I don't want it. I don't want it. That would ruin it for me and Sarah. I think that's it. If they took the solar off it, I'd still buy it. If they lowered the range, I'd still buy it.
Hmm.
If it was only trickle charge, not even level two, I'd still buy it. But if they put gas in it, I don't want anything to do with it.
Hmm.
That's it though. That's it.
All
Because
right.
because like you said earlier, the team is great. These people are really cool people, and they made a really cool product. I want to be a part of that all the way. I want to
Yeah.
ride that all the way.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I think I don't know. For me, it'd be kind of hard. Definitely if they some for some reason went to gas. Yeah, no. I think if they took the solar off for whatever reason, might not. But they put so much time into that. That's not going to happen. Um, I think if it comes out to where it's somehow super unsafe, I highly
Yeah.
doubt
Oh
it
yeah.
with the whole monocoque construction. But if that were to be a thing, then probably yeah. I was reading something where I guess initially they were thinking of doing side airbags, and then for the launch edition, it's only the front airbags.
Yep.
Um, I'm okay with that for my car. Coming from someone who rode a motorcycle for a long time, it's like, hey, I have an enclosure. Like that's better than being out in the elements.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I guess just for me, a safety issue kind of thing that would probably make me want to cancel.
Mhm.
And the DC fast charging is kind of on the wall. I don't think I would want it if it didn't have DC fast charging, but like you said, it might be a good business thing to have. And it might, if it's a way, something where I could keep my Bolt and an Aptera, I don't know where I would park it, but that might be a thing to think about too. So
Well, let's hope it doesn't come to anything that would make us break our reservation with Aptera. It's
yeah,
just too cool of a car.
yeah,
Way
for
too
sure.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey Chad, thank you so much for taking the time to talk about the webinar and get your thoughts on the launch edition. It's always fun to talk to you, and it's great to
Oh,
get
thank
another
you.
perspective from another reservation owner on how they feel about this stuff. So
Well, I
yeah,
appreciate it. It was always a privilege, Kaz. You are one of our absolute favorite YouTubers. We watch even the ones I don't care about. Like you made one with a Model X. Model X doesn't excite me, but I watched it because we like watching you.
no, thank you. That one might have been rough. That was the first podcast, so yeah,
Oh, it was?
the
Yeah, it
first.
wasn't bad. It was a good one. I just don't like the car.
Oh, thanks.
But he was like, "Oh, here's a video about Model X. Why would you watch it?" Well, because it's Kaz. It's Kaz. Like we're family. We're cousins or something.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thanks so much.
But yeah, you
Cool.
do a
Well,
great job.
thank you. Thank you. And for those of you watching, if you haven't watched Drive the Lightning's video on the launch edition, check that out somewhere over here. I'll have a link in the description. And also, I did a video with them about solar vehicles. You can watch that also somewhere over here or down there. I don't know. And
Right in the
yeah,
middle.
yeah. Tell Sarah I said hi,
Will do.
and I'm sure we'll chat again in the near future.
I sure hope so. Thank you, Kaz.
Cool. All right. Thank you.